Hello, welcome to this week's YouTube video. I'm Natalie Brynne. I've been a piano teacher for over 22 years, and now I'm the creator of Piano with Ease, the system that helps adults play many more songs in much less time because they don't have to learn to read traditional sheet music first. Today, I wanted to show you how we could take a stage 1 song, which is my beginning stage, where the right hand actually gets to stay in one 5-finger position, while the left hand focuses on moving around to different chord positions. And I'm going to show you several things that you can do with a simple chord letter so you can see what's possible in songs that are like lead sheets, fake book songs, and so on. We'll be using the song that I actually composed for my students called Quest. I was trying to make an epic song where their hand could actually stay in the one position like we talked about. So you can see these red chord letters down here below what's being played in the right hand. The simplest way that my students play these chords is if it's an A minor chord, simply put their pinky on the A and play thumb 5 notes away. You sink in both those fingers. If it's an F chord, pinky goes on F, G chord, pinky goes on G, and so on. So if you were going to play this song with the basic block chords, which I just showed you, it would sound like this. And then the right hand gets moving. So you can see it's kind of a moody, minor sounding song. So one of the first changes students can make to a block chord is instead of the outer 2 notes, they can add in this 3rd finger. But I actually don't require my students to do that clear until stage 3 because for absolute beginners, sometimes it's harder to put down 3 fingers at the same time. And it can sound really muddy when you're just beginning, when it's harder to make your left hand sound softer than your right. So if you're going to add 3 fingers, the song sounds like it's too much, especially when you get down to these really deep chords. So this would work if you took both your hands and played them in the same position but an octave higher, and then you played 3 notes. That sounds good. So already you can feel like you're having a quick win just with the basic block chords. But if you want to add a little something to your song, then what I've suggested right here is called chord hold, thumb hold. And that is putting our hand right in the same position, but then instead of just holding out the chord the whole time, we're going to go chord, hold, thumb, hold. Without getting too deep here, we have 4 beats or items in every measure. And in Piano with Ease, I have every single item that goes with a beat marked, so you have no question how long to hold something. So the measure might have note, hold, hold, hold. It might have 4 notes like note, 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 or it might even have like note, hold, note, hold. So when I say the word chord, hold, thumb, hold, that has 4 syllables, and there's also 4 items in every measure. So you're going to plan out when you're going to do this pattern in the left hand. The chord is already marked at the beginning of every measure. I already have that. So on this hold, you're not going to play anything with your left hand. But then on the next one, you're going to play thumb, and then on this one, you're holding anyway. So it's basically the first item's already marked with the chord, but every 3rd item is the one where we're going to play our thumb. So how that will sound is like this. Chord, hold, thumb, hold. Chord, hold, thumb, hold. Get more going on in the right hand, we're still just doing chord on the first beat and thumb on the 3rd beat. And you see how it kind of gives it a heartbeat feel. Now another pattern that I sometimes teach is chord, thumb, 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 but if you did it with this song, it makes it sound a little more frantic and spazzy like this. And you could do that if you wanted more momentum. That one might sound the best if you actually did, instead of an A chord, you did a set of A octaves. You put your thumb on the A and pinky down on the A below it. And then you could go like this. Or you could do chord, hold, thumb, hold, even with the octave like this. But see how it automatically made it sound more intense by adding the octaves. They're so deep and powerful that it totally changed our little delicate song from this to all of a sudden this. So changing up the chord is sometimes really fun. Another chord pattern I really enjoy is when you put your hand in the normal chord position, but instead of playing both notes together, which we call a block chord, we're going to do a broken chord. We're going to play pinky, skip a note, middle finger, skip a note, thumb. We call that skipping up because you're skipping notes up the piano. And then when we skip back down, we play third finger again. Skipping up, down. That's the A skipping up, down chord. If I move to the F position, skipping up, down. That gives our song just a different sound too. Like we're going to play skipping up, down, those 4 syllables matched up with the 4 items in each measure. So that will sound like. And so on. And what I really like is when you spread skipping up, down into an octave chord, like we just talked about. This is an octave, both A's. And then how you do an octave chord is you have your 5-finger chord position. You're going to put your index where thumb is. We're going to skip 2 notes so that you have an A on the bottom and an A on the top. And that will sound like skipping up, down. But it just sounds like a much more epic version of skipping up, down. So that would sound like this. So you can see how some will take more practice than others, but I love how you can take a simple looking song like this and you can either have a quick win with it by doing block chords, or you can add in any number of patterns to make your song sound the way that you want it to sound. The other thing you can do is you can vary playing a block chord with a pattern. So if I'm starting at this last line here, I might do chord, hold, thumb, hold, but then I might add in extra A chords even though they're not written, and that would sound like this. Chord, chord. But see how it gave it a sense of movement because we suddenly put in 2 chords where there's usually 1, so it gave it a little more momentum too. A lot of piano solos that you've heard out there, you've probably noticed that they start out a little more simply and then they start to add more and more as the song goes on, and a lot of times they wrap up and end simply again. Another pattern I like is called Alberti bass, based on the guy from the 1700s that used it in a lot of his songs, but it's basically what I like to call rock all. You rock all the notes in your chord, then you rock small. Rock all, rock small. So you're going pinky, thumb, middle finger, thumb. And this can even be spread out into the octave chord pattern too. Like I told you how you put the index there, skip 2 notes, you have the same note on the top and the bottom, rock all, rock small. So that just gives it a different mood as well if we did that. So you can try all kinds of patterns and see which ones are your absolute favorites. The last thing I'll show you is if we made our own rhythm just with their simple block chords. So what if I just decide to leave out every 3rd beat, but I did a chord on the 1st, 2nd, and 4th beats? Then my song would sound like this. Or with octaves. I hope this has given you a lot of ideas. I would love to know how you're using it in your piano journey. Thank you so much for watching. If you've never tried a piano song in the Piano with Ease style, there is one listed in the description for free. Thank you so much.